It was the kind of rainy afternoon that made the city look older, gentler. The streets of Portland, usually brisk and efficient, had softened beneath a curtain of drizzle. Michael Turner stood at a bus stop with a paper bag, shielding his only good suit. His hands trembled slightly, not from the cold, but from nerves. He hadn't seen her in 6 years. Rachel Hart. Back when they were still in small-town Illinois, they were everything to each other. Michael with his calloused hands from his family's woodshop, Rachel with paint-stained fingers from her dreams of art school. They'd once planned to move to Chicago together, but then life split at the seams. Michael's family lost their business. Rachel's parents married her off to a man they believed would offer her more. That was the last Michael heard. She'd moved to Portland with her husband. And now, 6 years later, he was here. Not by chance. He was in town asking old college contacts for money to start a new business. Humiliating as it was, he figured he'd try one last door. Hers. He climbed the stairs to a rundown apartment, hesitant. The building smelled like old rain and mothballs. Apartment 3B. He knocked. The door creaked open. Rachel stood there, startled, dressed in an oversized cardigan, her hair tucked back in a lazy bun. She looked older, tired. But when her eyes met his, something warm flickered through the gray. "Michael," she asked, stunned. "What are you doing here?" "Hi, Rachel," he said softly. I was in town. Thought I'd say hello." She hesitated, then stepped aside. "Come in. It's raining anyway." The apartment was modest, dimly lit, and cluttered. A single heater rattled in the corner. She motioned for him to sit on the worn-out sofa. He did, brushing off raindrops. She watched him like he might vanish. "So, how have you been?" she asked. Michael smiled faintly. "Been better. Lost my job last year. Trying to start something of my own now. It's slow." He looked around. "And you? How's married life?" Her gaze dropped. "Mark left. Over a year ago." Michael blinked. "I didn't know. I'm sorry." She waved it off. "It's okay. We weren't really right for each other. It just took a while to admit." He nodded. "What about your painting? Still at it?" Rachel hesitated, then chuckled dryly. "Hard to afford paints when you're figuring out rent. I waitress now. Nights mostly. But sometimes I sketch. Old habits." Michael reached into his coat, then stopped. He had an envelope, money he'd collected from friends. He couldn't bring himself to mention it. This visit, he realized, wasn't about money anymore. She poured him tea in chipped mugs. They talked. About their town. Their mutual friends. What had become of that lake where they carved their initials into a tree. Every word was a thread stitched quietly into something warm. At one point, he noticed a tear in the sleeve of her cardigan. Without thinking, he reached out. "You always hated sewing." Rachel laughed. "Still do. I just wear things till they give up on me." Their fingers touched. For a moment, neither moved. The clock ticked. "You know," she said softly, "I used to dream you'd show up one day. Walk through that door like nothing changed." Michael smiled. "And now I'm here, soaking wet and broke." "You're still here," she whispered. He stood suddenly, restless. "I should go. I have a bus to catch." Rachel followed him to the door. "Wait." She disappeared into the back and returned with a folded plastic raincoat. "You'll catch a cold," she said, handing it to him. He stared at it. "I remember this. You wore it when we got caught in that storm senior year." She shrugged, suddenly shy. Some things last longer than others. He took it, touched. "Thanks." As he opened the door, she said quietly, "Michael, if you ever want to come back, just to talk, you know where I am." He nodded, eyes glassy. "Rachel, if things were different." "They're not," she interrupted gently. "But maybe this moment is enough." He stepped into the rain, the coat rustling around him like memory. He didn't look back. Not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't need to. Some stories don't end with grand declarations or happy endings. Some stay tucked in rainy afternoons and quiet cups of tea, unfinished, but unforgettable. 3 years later, Michael opened a small woodworking studio in Bend. His furniture began gaining attention for its craftsmanship and soul. One day, a parcel arrived with no return address. Inside was a sketch, a simple pencil drawing of a man in a raincoat, standing at a bus stop, smiling at the sky. He framed it above his workbench. Some things, he thought, really do last longer than others.